Shabbat Shalom, Mr. This is the Kohen speaking. Hopefully everybody can hear me today, loud and clear. If not, we can fix that by raising up the volume. I believe that this will be a very enlightening lecture for those that understand, and those that grasp, and those that follow and execute. They will reap the benefits. And I will give you some examples to help you. Our Pashas today is the Pasha in the book of Deuteronomy, book of Deuteronomy, which starts chapter 26. I personally believe this chapter, this particular verse sets the tone of your manifestations and desires, and why some of you are getting it and why some of you are not getting it. So, it says, "And it shall be, when you have come into the land which Yahweh your power is about to give you for an inheritance, and possess it, and dwell in it, that you shall take of the first of all the fruit of the earth, which you shall bring of your land that Yahweh your power is about to give you, and shall put it in a basket, and shall go to the place which Yahweh your power shall choose to place his name there, and you shall go up to the Kohen that shall be in those days, and say to them, I profess this day to Yahweh your power, that I have come into the country which Yahweh swore to our fathers to give us. And the Kohen shall take the basket out of your hand, and set it down before the altar of Yahweh your power. And you shall speak and say before Yahweh your power, an Aramean was ready to destroy my father, and he went down into Mitzrayim, to Egypt, and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation, great, mighty, and numerous in numbers. And the Mitzrayim, the Egyptians, evil entreated us, and inflicted us, and laid upon us hard bondage. And when we cried to Yahweh Elohim of our fathers, Yahweh heard our voice, and looked on our affliction, and our labor, and our oppression. And Yahweh brought us forth out of Mitzrayim, out of Egypt, with a mighty hand, with an outstretched arm, and with a great terribleness, and with signs and with wonders. And he has brought us into this place, and has given us this land, even a land that flows with milk and honey. And now behold, I have bought the Bikurim, the first fruit of the land, which you, O Yahweh, has given me, and you shall set it before Yahweh your power, and pay homage before Yahweh your power. And you shall rejoice in every good thing which Yahweh your power has given to you, and to your base, to your house, you and the Levite, and the foreigner that is among you, when you have made an end of tithing." Listen very carefully what this is saying to you, all of you. Read this full chapter. "And when you have made an end of tithing, all of the tithes of your increase, the third year, which is the year of tithing, and have given it to the Levite, the foreigner, the fatherless, and the widow, and they may eat within your gates and be filled. Then you shall say before Yahweh your power, I have brought away the holy things out of my base, and also have given them to the Levite, to the foreigner, to the fatherless, to the widow, according to all your commandment which you have commanded me. I have not transgressed your commandments, neither have I forgotten them. I have not eaten anything while in mourning, neither have I removed anything while I was unclean, nor offered anything of it to the dead, but I have obeyed the voice of Yahweh my power, and have done according to all that you have commanded me. Look down from your holy dwelling, from Shemaim, from the heavens, and bless your people Israel, and to the land which you have given us, as you swore to your fathers, a land that flows with milk and honey. This day Yahweh your power has commanded you to do these statutes and judgments. You shall therefore guard and do them with all your heart, with all your soul. You have declared to Yahweh this day to be your power, and to keep his halachot, his ways, in his ways, and to keep his statutes and his commandments and his judgments, and to obey his voice. And Yahweh has declared to you this day to be his treasured possession, and he has promised you that you should guard all his commandments, and to elevate you above all nations which he has made, in praise and in name and in respect, that you may be a holy people to Yahweh your power as he has spoken. Okay, so this is a very, very important chapter as part of this particular Pasha. I will encourage you to read the whole Pasha in your due time, because this talks about the blessings. Remember chapter 28? And remember chapter 28 talks about the curses. And chapter 28 talks about the blessings. That blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the field. Blessed shall you be in the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your cattle, the calf of your herds, and the flocks of your sheep. He gives you lots of blessings. These are great chapters to read. And then it talks about when you do not do what you're told, you shall be cursed. Things will not go right for you. Curse here should not be taken to mean that you're going to be killed outright or something like that. But curse should simply here reflect that you will not benefit, you will not be blessed, you will suffer, you will try to do things but they will not happen in your time, and you will kind of fail to do things that you desire to do. Okay? Especially how we should see it in our time today. But before I go into this, I think that we need to understand where we are. Okay? Last week I spoke about affirmations and afformations. There's an affirmation and there's an afformation. And I told you that affirmations would be something like, I am rich. That's an affirmation. And then an affirmation is, why am I rich? Some of you out there have a lot of difficulty with believing that you are rich. Because, you may have lived a life which is very mediocre, which is very simple, very rudimentary, and you maybe, your families have been in poverty and they have struggled, and you were brought up in that struggle, and you have built limiting belief inside your head that you cannot be rich. And this happens to a lot of people. This is not a sin. This is not a bad thing. It happens to people who come from poor backgrounds, who come from projects, who, struggle, and it's very difficult for them to see the light of day because their families have struggled and they do not know how to get out of that struggle. And I will give you the project lifestyle, and I will give you the rich lifestyle, the benefits, the vibrations, as I call it, the vibes. I don't like to call it vibrations, but let me call it the atmosphere instead, which is an even better word. And I'll give you some examples around that, why people who come out of projects struggle and people who come out of rich homes don't struggle. Why? Why is that? Why does one man who come out of a rich home doesn't struggle, go straight into a nice job, and is very happy to live his life with his family? And another person, he comes out of a project, there's 100 other families living there, and out of these projects, maybe only one person might succeed, and the other 99 fail. Why? Is a very important question that I will answer today, and I will teach you some things that you will use in your daily living. Now, as I encouraged you last week, and I don't like to waste time with fluff and all this baloney around me. I just want to go straight to the point. I'm going straight to the point. I'm not going to waste any time with just trying to, talk BS. So I like to go to the point, and the point is this. Some of you will struggle with affirmations because you do not see yourself rich. You do not see how you can become rich. You see yourself, you're 80 years old, you're 85 years old, you're getting on in life, and you're thinking, well, what the heck, when am I going to be rich? I'm already 85 years old. I'm already 90 years old. I'm already 91. How long am I going to live to become rich? See, these are limiting beliefs. These are the beliefs that control you, and they control you unconsciously. You don't have to think of them consciously. They come to you unconsciously, and they are there. So how do we get rid of them? The idea of affirmations, to add a why to your affirmations, to say, why am I rich? Or why am I wealthy? Or Why do I live in a plush home? Why am I a millionaire? Why am I a billionaire? Why do I drive a luxury car? The idea behind that was that when you do a why, your brain automatically doesn't reject that statement. When you do a statement, some of you, not all of you, some of you, when you do a statement and say, I am rich or I am wealthy, the brain, your subconsciousness, your consciousness, which is your filter, your consciousness automatically will say, what do you mean you're rich? You don't even have money to pay your bill, right? And it will reject it. And it will do it unconsciously. It's not happening consciously. It's happening unconsciously, and you don't even know it. And you're standing there thinking, well, I'm rich, and your brain is saying, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. Limiting belief, okay? But when you ask the question and say, when you make it into a question and say, why am I rich? Then the brain doesn't reject it consciously or unconsciously. Unconsciously, the brain does not reject that statement and starts to think, why is that person rich? And then what the consciousness will do is, this is not happening all unconsciously. This is not happening by you doing some magic. It's all unconsciously. Unconsciously, the brain will start to work things out, start to make connections with different people, different places, and try to bring you to that richness that you're asking. Because you've asked the question, why am I rich? And the brain doesn't have an immediate answer, but the brain is looking for an answer unconsciously. So it's unconsciously going to find an answer and it's going to bring it to you, and one day you're going to find, whether it's a case of you winning the lottery, whether your uncle leaves you an inheritance, whether suddenly, your friend comes over to you and says, hey, let's partner up and start a business together. And you say, yeah, let's go with it. And you partner up with your friend, and before you know it, your business flourishes and you become rich. That's the why statement. That's how your brain works the why statement. So, what about the affirmation that I am rich? The way that affirmation will work for most of you will be like this. You have to enforce it. And that will be by ramping it up. I am rich. I'm becoming rich. Money's coming into me. Money's coming in any time now. Money's coming in. Money's coming in any time now. I am rich. Nothing can stop me from being rich. Money's coming in any time. See, when you practice it like that, your affirmation, then there's nothing that can stop you from becoming rich, because now you're enforcing it. Now you're telling yourself that this is how it's going to be. This is how I'm going to be living. It's a behavior pattern, by the way. It's called a behavior pattern. So, now let's talk about projects. And let's talk about an affluent area. I'm going to use an example of Perrysburg. Perrysburg is a place in not far from Ohio. Well, it is in Ohio, actually. It's not far from Fremont. And it's about 20 minutes away. It's a beautiful suburb, nice big houses. House prices start there for about $350,000 and can go up $1 million plus. And a place called Perrysburg. You may have heard of it. It doesn't have to be Perrysburg. We could use some other area. We could use Hollywood. Let's use Hollywood instead. Hollywood, as you know, beautiful houses, expensive houses, can range from anywhere from a million up to, who knows, 100 million, give and take, maybe even more. So, let's talk about it. If you live in the projects, what is wrong with living in the project? Technically, nothing's wrong with living in the project, but everything else is wrong with living in the project. Why? Because your brain conforms to the things around you. The atmosphere, as I call it, the atmosphere. What is the atmosphere in the projects? Women sitting down, yada, 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 tailbearing, backbiting, that woman over there did this, that woman said that, and this woman is doing this, and men as well. Not just women, men as well. Men sitting down and, hey, did you see what happened to Jack? And did you know what Adam did? And did you know that how he went to do that and it failed, and a lot of that negative talk comes from male and female in projects. So what happens? That is the atmosphere that goes around, and you don't have to be part of that. It's not that you're part of that talk or you're part of that group. You don't have to be part of that group. You're somewhere in your own private home sitting down, but that atmosphere is affecting you unconsciously, and it's taking you down step at a time. You don't even know it. You're so unconsciously unconscious that you don't even know what the heck is going on. And you're thinking, why is my business failing? Why aren't I making that next job with a higher salary? Why am I still stuck with $10 an hour? It's because where you are, where you live. Now let's talk about somebody living in Parisburg or in Hollywood. Okay? All the rich people live there. So what do rich people talk about? Well, let's give an example. Rich people sitting over there, and I'll give an example over here as well. Rich people sitting over there, what do they talk about? Let's start the next business. How about we invest? Two people are sitting down, two families are just sitting down, and they say, you know what? Let's start a business. Let's start a restaurant. And what we'll do is, you put down $5 million and I'll put down $5 million, and we'll combine the $10 million and we'll borrow some money from the bank and we'll start a restaurant for $10 million. It's a nice, plush little restaurant, maybe a bar, and we'll kickstart it. We'll employ some people and we'll hire some people and we'll get it going. And then the money we make, we'll split the profit after taxes. See, that's the kind of talk that happens in rich places. See the difference? Now you understand why God said, don't talebear? God particularly said in the Bible, do not talebear. Do not go gossiping. Why? Because gossip destroys unconsciously. It's negativity. God did not want you to go into gossiping and into negativity. And God wanted to keep you away from that. But if you live in a gossiping place, if you live in a little street where everybody's gossiping against each other, then you're already unconsciously in like a little prison cell. You're like in a little prison. But you need to get out of that prison. I remember distinctly, even today, I remember listening to Mr. Trump's testimony. One of his testimonies was about a young man, and he was talking about his business friend. It's online, it's on the internet, and this was probably done several years ago. This is not new, it was an old one. And Mr. Trump was talking about his friend who was a businessman. He said he wasn't a great businessman at the time, but he was a businessman. He wasn't doing great. He said, but he always bought first-class ticket in the plane. Even though he did not have enough money to buy a first-class ticket, he would borrow money on his credit card and buy a first-class ticket and always travel first class. And he said, what's the reason? What's the reason he did that? And Mr. Trump said the reason he did that because it made him feel good. It gave him, he sat with the rich people in first class. The persona, the atmosphere. He said the atmosphere that it generated for him was what he wanted. And he said when he came out of that, when he, was doing his business afterwards, he said he flourished. His business flourished. And before you know it, he said he did extremely well in business. He said he did extremely well as a rich man now. So my point to the point is you can live in a project, you can live in a prison, or you can live in slightly outside the project and you might be outside the prison because you're not in gossip land. Nothing wrong with projects, by the way. It's not that project people are bad people. It's not that. But the negativity that is created in projects is a problem. That's what keeps people down. Now, that's really simply, in a nutshell, what happens to most people who live in projects or who live in, doesn't have to be a project, in the equivalent of that in England equivalent of that, and you would understand, the British people who are listening, you would understand when I tell the people live in council flats. You know what it's like living in council flats, council areas. My goodness, all the trash lives over there. The majority of the trash, I'll call it white trash, black trash, brown trash, yellow trash, whatever trash you want to call it. All trash lives over there. Meaning, all the people who live over there are your down, like down and out, unemployed people, claiming benefits, claiming social security. They don't want to work their butt, they don't want to work, they don't want to get off their butt, they don't do any jobs. They just want to be a burden on the government. And the government gives them these council flats. They know these people are like this. They know that. So they give them these council flats so they can all be bunched together in one place and yada together. They can be all negative together. But you'll find that rich people always gather together. Rich people always gather together in different parts of the town. And wherever rich people gather together, they have beautiful homes, they have big cars, they have, nice ambience. And this is why rich people live together, because of the atmosphere, because of what happens around them. Business ideas. Yesterday I had my friend come down over here, and he works for his boss who does import and export. And he was telling me that his boss is investing something like $400,000. And he was telling me that how he's partnering up with another partner. They're both going to put down $200,000 each, and they're buying a restaurant already running in town, like on the main road. And they're going to be running this restaurant together. And they've asked him to be part of the management team. So he has to be there from, 7 o'clock in the evening to, 1 o'clock in the morning or something, whenever the restaurant shuts down. And he'll be making sure, his job is to make sure that money is taken care of, because there's a lot of customers come and go, money, cash flow and all that. And his job is to make sure the cash flow is taken care of. And so rich people, again I come to the point, rich people talk business. How to do business and what business to do, and what do poor people do? Poor people talk about other people's, gossip. What did other person do? Or why did he do that? And why not do that? And so on and so forth. It's all gossip. Okay. So that's my little rant about poor people. Poor people will just simply talk gossip, mostly. And the gossip is not good. It will lead to negativity. Now, that doesn't mean that all poor people are bad, but it does mean that majority of the poor people have nothing better to do but to gossip. So stay away from poor people. Why? Now, let me give you an example of how to change your ambience. Let me not teach you how to change your ambience. When you go out, okay? By the way, this is a mentality of a lot of people. Let me give you an example. I've traveled a lot in America. And, kefa, I've traveled all over the place in America. I think I've covered about 32, maybe 33 states in America in my car, just traveling around. And I've come across a lot of different hotels. I've stayed in a lot of hotels. I've stayed, I've gone to a lot of little restaurant takeaways, pizza places and places like that. But most of all, my number one criteria, whenever I make a stop on my journey for fuel, I always look out for the hot chocolate place. I always will stop for hot chocolate or coffee. I mean, I'm not really a big coffee fan. I drink it, but not that much. But I will always, whenever I stop for hot chocolate, it always has to be only one place. For me, it always has to be Starbucks. Now, there are loads of other places that sell hot chocolate, they sell coffee. There's loads of them, but I always stop at Starbucks. That's the one place where I like to stop and buy my hot chocolate or latte or whatever, muffin or whatever I need to buy. Why? Because Starbucks, as you know, is spread throughout America, and Starbucks, usually caters for, students, travelers, business people, all sorts of people alike. They stop there. And if you go to the airport, it's the same story. Go to the airport, it's exactly the same thing. I stopped in Dubai, for a stopover, and I went to Starbucks to get my hot chocolate because that's just where I stop. Because I know the ambience is good in Starbucks. I know that. The same way, some of you, it's not a criticism, it's just a suggestion that, you might, Starbucks hot chocolate, for argument's sake, might be $4 for a hot chocolate, okay? Might sound expensive for some. Maybe even sometimes $6, $5 to $6, if depending on what you put in there. If you put in there marshmallows or something, or cream, or maybe, half milk, half and half, they might charge you nearly $6 for the chocolate. So it may sound expensive for some people, understandably. But don't worry about that so much, because you might go to a cafe and you might find that the chocolate over there is $1.25. Okay? And you might think, well, if I go to a cafe and the chocolate or coffee over there is $1.25, and if I go to Starbucks, it's about $5, I'm going to have to pay 4 times as much. No, I'd rather go to that cheaper place. This is the precise problem why some of you are not making it. Because your mind unconsciously is driving you to places that are, number 1, low ambience. Number 2, they can't get you off the ground. Remember the story about Mr. Trump and his friend? That's what you're doing. Unconsciously, your brain, your mind, is taking you to lower places, and it likes to keep you there because maybe safety, maybe safety factor, maybe is comfort that is close by. You don't have to travel out. Maybe the Starbucks is 20 minutes down the road. It could be anything like that. I'm not saying it has to be Starbucks. There are other cafes there as well that are a little bit more upbeat, a little bit more popular, and a little bit more expensive. People go there. It's just an idea, giving you an idea. And I'm telling you why some of you will fail in life because you're still stuck to your poverty mindset. And poverty consciousness is something I spoke about, my goodness, I think it was last year. I spoke about poverty consciousness and why poverty conscious people never get off the ground. And Mr. Trump's example, and I encourage you to search for that lecture that Mr. Trump did. It's one of his old lectures, little. It's not that long. It's a short one, but he did give some great advice in there to people. People were talking. Some reporter was asking him that, how come you've gone through bankruptcy, you've done this, you've done that, you still come out successful? And he spoke about how he was able to use other people's money and make a success out of it. So this is important examples to learn from rich people. Rich people teach you good examples. This is why it's better to live in a nicer neighborhood than into a rotten neighborhood. Because in a rotten neighborhood, you're going to get rotten neighbors. And of course, you can get rid of your rotten neighbors, but if there's too many of them, you're going to have to be, desiring to get rid of all of them and maybe replace them with bad, good neighbors. Now, let's come back to the point. This is an important point that I want to hammer in. And if I can hammer it in right, then you will get it. I already spoke about the affirmations where you specify the why. And they do come quickly, by the way. They do work faster than I am. And they do come quickly as well. But you got to be, focused on it. Laser beam focus. Now, let's talk about your consciousness. Let's talk about awareness. Let's call it, awareness basically is God. Okay? And it's important to understand awareness because without awareness, we're just running all over the place and not getting anywhere. And I wanted to give you something. And here it's something that where Jesus of Nazareth said, and I think it's important and something to understand. In Matthew chapter 18, and this is in verses 1 to 5, it says, at that time, the disciples came to Yeshua, Jesus of Nazareth, and said, who then is greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And he called a child to himself and set him before them and said, truly I say to you, unless you are converted and become like children, you will not enter the kingdom of heaven. What Amazing little excerpt of scripture. Whoever then humbles himself as this child, he is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And whoever receives one such child in my name receives me. Okay? Whoever humbles himself. Now, this is not talking about making yourself a doormat. Because a lot of your religious mentalities like to go there. We're not talking about becoming doormats over here. Humble doesn't mean that, by the way. I also wanted to give you something from Matthew 5. And Matthew 5 was something that had, let me pull it out. Matthew 5. And it said, let me search for that verse. Here we are, verse 5. 5:5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Now, to the religious mindset, the meek person is that who becomes a doormat. And the same way, to become like a child, maybe to some of you is like he's becoming a doormat. No. Blessed are the meek is a terminology that was used by Neville Goddard. And Neville Goddard gave a little explanation of it, and you will not find that explanation in your religious texts. Not in your concordances, you never find the explanation, or at least the meaning. Meek does not mean what your concordance tells you. And I mean, I can do a little search, it's no problem. I'm on the internet. Let me do a meek concordance search and see what meek comes up with, so we can get an idea what does the word meek mean. Okay. It says, Bible concordance, the word meek, found in 16 verses, 14 chapters, and 7 disappeared, and put it back up. Okay, come on, spinning. It's spinning away. Okay, taking its time. Spinning away, and it's taking its time. Taking far too long. Okay, so it says it's found in 16 verses, 14 chapters, and 7 books. What the Bible says about meek, and that says that it speaks about Numbers 12:3. Also, Moses was also called very meek above all the men. And in Psalms 22:26, it talks about meek. So, in terms of the concordance, the term meek is not going to mean what meek actually means. In the English term, meek means of gentleness, reserve, and strength. And the Thayer's Greek lexicon says, exhaustive concordance calls meek apparently a primary word mild, by implication humble. Remember we spoke about humble, like children? They're similar words. Now, neither of the two match. Surprise, surprise. Neither of those two words are true. Surprise, surprise. And neither of those two words mean what they tell you in the concordance. It's totally wrong. Okay, what does meek mean, and what does humble mean? Meek and humble, I'll give you an example what meek and humble means, and I'll use myself as an example. I won't use other people. Meek and humble, and we'll use a tiger as an example, or a lion. Meek and humble, let's say you sign up for the gym. And you want to go to the gym every day. Once a day you decide to go to the gym. And you go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then you take 2 days off. Or maybe you go to the gym Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and you take 3 days off. Whichever you do it. By the way, that is meek. That is humble. Now, let me explain the terminology. What does it mean? It means that you tame yourself. It means that you endure. It means that you prepare yourself to do something. You set yourself a goal, and you said, I've set myself a goal to lose, 10 pounds. And I'm going to do it no matter what comes my way. I'm going to lose 2 inches of waist, and I'm going to do it no matter what comes my way. That is what meek means. It means you tame your senses. You tame yourself. You discipline yourself. That's really what meek means. Disciplined man is a meek man. Disciplined man is a humble man. So when it says Moses was a most meek man, it wasn't talking about his mild qualities. It's just laughable, when I hear that. It was not talking about Moses' mild qualities. It was talking about Moses being tenacious. He tamed himself. When God told him to take the children of Israel to the land of Israel, he became tenacious. He set a mind for himself. I'm going to do it no matter what. We are going to enter the land. We're going to go together. We're going to leave Egypt and we're going to make it. And so he did. He made it to the land. Okay. God didn't allow him to enter the land and Aaron, but they made it. They were tenacious. They were tame, like a lion, like a tiger. They were tamed. They decided to do something and nothing's going to stop them. That, by the way, is what meek means. So next time you read the Bible, be very careful of how you read the Bible, because meek does not mean what you're reading in your scriptures mostly, because otherwise it's gobbledygook. Matthew 5:5, the meek shall inherit the earth. It doesn't mean that the mild man will inherit the earth, because the mild man's heart is going to inherit the earth. He won't even get off his back. Forget about inheriting the earth. He won't even get off his back to do anything. Only those people inherit the earth who get off their back and do something about it. So let's come back to reality. Check. If you're going to be meek, you're going to be heavily disciplined. You're going to have decided a goal and you're going to say, I'm going to do this goal. I'm going to do this no matter what. That is meek. That is humble. So when Jesus said you're going to be like little children, unless you're converted like little children, you shall not enter the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is within you, what we call consciousness, what we call awareness, what we call God. Okay? Because that's our connection with God. Children do not argue about things that adults argue about. If you started a discussion about paradise or heaven or fairies or angels, children will not argue about that so much. They will believe it. They're tending to believe things much readily than adults do. Adults will argue and argue and argue till the cows go home. They continue to argue to prove their point. The whole idea that Jesus of Nazareth said about children was, don't argue. Don't argue about these things. Just do them. Just do them religiously, ritually, disciplinarily. Do them. Use your discipline and do them, and you will acquire them. Now, let me come back to the main point of the lecture. This is one that you may have to continuously, rewind and hear. We talk about states, and we talk about to be in a particular state. If your state is living in a project, if that's the state you're brought up in, then you'll always be living in a project. Your children will be living in a project. You already lived in a project. Your children will do the same, and on it goes. But if you come out living in a nice house, in a nice place, nice neighborhood, then you want your children to live in a nice neighborhood as well. By the way, this is how you manifest something. Let me give you a little secret. This little secret will help you. But you got to listen to it carefully. I will speak it slowly so that I'm not rushing it, so that you don't get confused. Manifesting something doesn't require you to write, and it doesn't require you to imagine either. It doesn't require you to do neither of those two things if you want to manifest a desire. Why? Because creation is already done. God already created everything. It may not be in our universe. We may not see it. That beautiful car that you want, that beautiful house that you want, you may not see it right now in your 3D world, but it is already there. It's in some part of town. It's in some part of the country. But you have to bring it into your reality. And the way you bring it into your reality, you set your focus on it. Have you ever seen a sniper? You've probably seen plenty of sniper movies, American sniper movies. I've seen a few. And what does a sniper do? A sniper sits there for days, hours, days on end, and hoping to catch a glimpse of the enemy so he can shoot him and terminate him completely so that he doesn't become a threat. See, a sniper does that. What a sniper does, he wants to eliminate threat that is towards the troops, towards his allies, towards the people he's working for or he's defending. You want to be like a sniper. That's the secret. When you become like a sniper, you will achieve your goal, you will achieve your dream, and you won't have to even imagine. You won't even have to say a single affirmation. So what is a sniper? Feeling is the secret. Remember what I told you what the feeling is? Touch, taste, smell, sound. What does a sniper do when he's hiding himself in the bushes? He has all those sounds. He hears sound. He listens for sound. He listens for smell. He smells things. And he also touches things. Also is hearing things. And he might even taste things. So he's using all five senses, sitting in the dark, waiting for the enemy to appear, and boom, as soon as the enemy appears, he's going to shoot the enemy down. This is where you need to be. Your consciousness, your Godness, I'll call it Godness, that lives within you. Your I am. It has to be in sniper mode. It has to be focused in on whatever you desire. If you desire $100 million, then you're focused in. You are calibrated on $100 million, and all you see when you're sitting down and you're doing nothing, or maybe you're on your laptop, or maybe you're talking to somebody, your focus is on that 100 million in your bank. You continue to see the statement of your bank in your mind. Your mind continues to see the statement, $100 million balance. $100 million balance. You're not saying it. You're not imagining it. You're focusing on it with your consciousness. Consciously. And it's not happening unconsciously. It's happening consciously. That is the secret to manifesting. When you do that successfully, when you bring your consciousness deliberately to the state where you want to be. Now, for a car, for a new car, you want to see yourself in that car, even though you might be sitting on your crappy couch inside your home. You might be sitting inside your crappy couch inside your home, and you're thinking, how the heck am I going to drive that $50,000 or $60,000 car? No problem. $100,000 car, no problem. Because you continue to focus like a sniper. You focus yourself sitting on that crappy couch. You focus yourself holding the steering of that car. That's all you see. You're holding the steering of that car because the car's already been manufactured. It's already created. It's already standing in some garage. It's only waiting to come to you. Do not allow your crappy couch. Do not allow that to distract you and think to yourself, well, I'm in my crappy couch. I can't even afford to change my couch. How am I going to afford to change my car? See, this is the mentality. This is what I call limiting belief. Limiting belief is what we call resistance. Remove that. Forget about it. Put yourself in nice ambience. If you go to that $1.25 cafe to get your coffee, then go to Starbucks or go to some other nicer cafe and buy your coffee in a nicer cafe. Spend a little bit of time there. Sit down maybe with some people. Some people over there doing their own business. You just sit down and drink your coffee there. Don't just rush and get in your car and get back home and I don't drink it on my table. No, just sit down there for 5 minutes. Sit down and enjoy the scenery. Allow your brain to be opened up to the possibilities. Whilst you're sipping that coffee, your laser focus is on that $100 million in your bank, or is on that beautiful new car, or is on that house that you're desiring to live in, and all you see is living in that house. The day you switch your focus, which I call awareness, the day your awareness is stuck there, that's the day you will manifest. That is the day you will manifest, because you won't be thinking about how, when, or why. And you did not do a single manifestation, you did not do a single affirmation. Those of you who want to try it that way. Or you did not do a single script. You did not do a single imaginative act. And you went straight through. There is a guy, Richard Branson. Richard Branson is a British billionaire. He owns Virgin Atlantic Airlines. And somebody asked him that, how are you so successful in businesses? And he said, look, he doesn't do imaginative acts. He doesn't write any scripts to how to become successful. He said, look, I just make lists. I just make a list and I say, well, tomorrow I'm going to, do these tasks. So he said, I make a list for every day. That's it. And I just work on those lists. And things happen for me. He's a rich man. Proves my point. My point is this, that his laser focus, like a sniper, is on his list. And he continuously keeps his focus, keeps his awareness on the list. Tomorrow, I will do this task. And it happens for him tomorrow. So if you want to try and test this, I'm not saying that don't do imaginative act. I'm not saying that. I'm saying imaginative act is one route to your success. Affirmations is another route to your success. But it may take a little time. But if you want to speed it up, then bring your awareness to a point where you want to be. Take yourself to eternity. Believe for a second that you're not here. You're not sitting in America or in England or somewhere else. You are sitting in eternity. Just as God sits in eternity. There's no time. There is no time. It's eternity. And in eternity, you focus yourself to be the object that you want to be. So, I am a brand new car. Whatever that car is, Roadster, Tesla Roadster, a Mercedes G-Van, maybe a Ford F-150 truck, or some other car. Okay? You just see yourself in eternity as that car means, listen carefully, you become that object. You become that car. You are now that car. And you keep seeing yourself as that car in eternity. Just as God would. Because remember, God created the world out of imagination. God created the world out of sound. It says God spoke the world into existence. So what are you doing? This is the secret to success, by the way. If we can master it. And a lot of people don't master this secret. And some people do. So I would suggest for you to try it. You have a number of techniques. You have imaginative act that you can do. You have affirmations. You have affirmations with the Y technique. You now have the technique to focus in on one act, one desire. May that be $100 million in your bank. May that be, for instance, a nice car, a nice house. You just see yourself. And you might say, well, how do I become the balance? Well, you become the balance in the account. You're going to become the balance. Your focus, like a sniper, is on your balance sheet. You keep imagining you're seeing a balance, and the balance is $100 million on your sheet. Keep imagining it, and you will do it, and you will get it, and it will be there for you. But you must do it. You must continue at it, and you must do it every day, and you will get it. So that's what I can tell you. You've got to try it, test it, and you will get what you desire. So with that, Rabbi Kefa, I'm going to pass over to you. Have a wonderful Shabbat, wonderful week.
Okay, Todah Rabah HaKohen. We'll take questions at the end of the lecture. Todah Rabah for another tool to add in the tool chest to apply. I tell you what, HaKohen mentioned several things that I want to touch on as well. Okay, first of all, I would like to say he talked about roots to your success, roots to my success, roots to the success of the children of Israel. Can anybody name a place where they've been, a popular place, a happy place where you've been, or where you want to go? Can you just name those places right now, Ms. Bahal? You name a popular place, a geographic location where you have been or where you are going. Anybody want to name some places for me? I know you're not, we're sojourners, so we love to travel. So if you could name some places, and while we name those places, put them in, text them in if you will, please. But while we name some places, I would encourage you as travelers. How many of you are familiar with? And you can Google this as well. You can Google, how many planes are there in the air. They actually have maps showing you all the different planes. And have you ever seen a map I guess it would be, the guys in the tower in these airports that direct all of the traffic from the airlines? My goodness. You all need to look at one of those maps, and you'll see it's a big world out here. There's a lot of traveling going on, and there's people taking trips all over the place. So we have Boston, we have Hawaii, we have Paris, Vive la France, Paris, France. We have Aruba. We also have another Paris, France on the agenda as well. Well, to dock for that. Now, I'd like to end in the spirit of the route to your success. If you're planning your trip to these locations, right? I would like to ask you, how are you going to get there? Okay, you gave me the place. Now, I'd like to know how you're going to get there. What's your plan to get there? You want to text that in if you would? I'd appreciate it. Okay, what's your plan to get there? Is it by plane, train, automobile, bicycle? How do you want to get there? Or how are you going to get there? Or how did you get there? Is a fly first class? That's specific. I like that. Torah. You know exactly what you want. That's sniper mentality there. Plane, says Rabbi Zachariah. Now, for the majority of your trips, I would surmise that it probably require you to get on somebody's plane. Ohio Fire says private plane. That's how you roll. So you get on somebody's plane. Now, this is why I mentioned to you earlier to take a look at all of the planes that are in air, and you can Google this, and they'll show you a live map or maybe a little bit delayed map of the planes that are in air, and they'll give you these little lines. Has anybody done that yet? And you'll see these little red lines going all over the place, all over the globe, and these represent planes that are in flight to a particular destination. And this brings me back, and when Kohen said this, it's the first thing that popped up in my imaginations, was seeing those different lines. And when he talks about routes to your success or route to your success, I understand this is that there are more than one route that you can take. Let me start my recording, by the way, from 5 to recording. So that there's more than one route that can be taken to get to your destination, to the route of your success. Say if you want to go to Paris, France, you guys can get online right now, get on the internet, and find out that there's many different routes that you can take to get to Paris, France. There's not just one route you can take. Oh, okay, get on this plane and go to... No, you can get on this stop. You can end up stopping over here. Maybe you stop in Brussels, and then you go down to France. Maybe you can stop in Germany and get to France. And there's many different routes that can be taken. And this is why it's very important that we understand is that the more routes that you can take, the better, because you'll find out with some routes you may want to stop in and visit Germany for a minute. You may want to stop in and visit the UK for a minute before you get on another plane to go directly to Paris, France, or whatever. So there's many different stops that you can have along your journey and get into your final destination. And that's great. And that's showing us that there are many different tools that we can use. Not that one tool is better than another, but that there are many different tools, as our Queen has given us, to expand and to assist in implementing our final destination, our success ratio, to bring that in quicker. You know what I mean? He calls it ramping it up, to bring it in quicker. And that's beautiful. Understand that going forward. And not to say, now he's telling me to do this, so I have to dump this. No, this is just another, like he said, another route to our success. There are many different routes that you can take. As you can see, on these places where you want to go or have been, there's many different routes that you can take. And you'll find that some routes may be less expensive than others, may require more stops. On planes, one of the big things that I like to do is to limit, the different stops, the layovers, as they call them, the layovers that you have. Get that directly, I'm totally happy. And for you plane enthusiasts, I watched this one video on YouTube the other night, and it was about the top 5 out of Dubai. That's a good one, Eddie's. The top 5 airlines to fly when flying long distance. Oh man, you need to watch that one on YouTube, because it really, like how Queen talked about atmosphere. My goodness, atmosphere and the altitudes. I mean, you got full king size beds on these planes. I'm like, well, good him. But some people are totally happy flying coach back there in the back, near the bathroom, near the toilets on the plane. No. I'm talking, my mindset is laying up in a king size bed as I fly to China, Rukashin. You know what I mean? That's what I imagine. I don't, Shane, I'm not imagining, sitting in them cramped, coach seats back there, can't stretch your legs out, you're praying that you don't have a person to the left or to the right, or you can make this makeshift bed out of the seats. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to roll like that. I'm not rolling that way. I'm rolling with, look, let's stretch out this king size bed as I travel on these 13, 12, 15 hours to China, Rukashin. Get some good rest in. And so these are, again, these are things that are very important for you to, envision for yourself and to see yourself doing these things. So if you haven't seen them before, it's right at your fingertips. You can begin to see these things. Like somebody may say, well, I've never seen a golden faucet. I've never seen a golden toilet. How many of you seen a golden toilet before? Made out of 24 karat gold. Anybody seen a golden toilet before? Well, you can if you get right on YouTube. They take you to these houses and you'll see a golden toilet. 24 karat gold toilet. Imagine that. And you're urinating in a 24 karat gold toilet. If that lights your Bunsen burner, then hey, imagine it, be it, see it, do it. So again, these are things that are within our realm of reach. But again, we have to prepare ourselves for these things. And I'm going to segue right into the lecture with this. And I think this is very, very important, because now the children of Israel are, they've given commandments and given instruction and guidance on what they are to do when they get into the land, per se. Now, I think I've asked this question before. And now, in the vast expanse of your mind, in your brain, in your imaginations, you can take, and I want you all to understand this, where you want to be, just within your mind. And like I Queen talking about the old dilapidated couch, you can sit on a dilapidated couch and have a Corona on the beach in Maui or in Aruba. You know what I mean? And you can imagine all of this while you're sitting on that dilapidated couch. it can become real to you. So when we look at our Pasha, we look at Deuteronomy chapter 26, starting at verse 1, and it says this, and I read from the Abrahamic-Faith Bible or the Hidden Truth We Break scrolls. You don't have this Bible, you don't have these scrolls, please add these to your repertoire, add these to your library, and it really assists you. Shabbat shalom to you, Nehemiah. Great to see you in the room once again, family. And it shall come to pass when you have come into the land which Yahweh your power is about to give you for an inheritance, and possess it and dwell in it. See, this is what I want to concentrate on, two words. And we're going to do some geometry today. So if you have pen and paper, get it ready. Or if you want to put it in your imaginations, Shabbat Shalom, Pasha. Sean is here in all this glory. If you want to put this in your imaginations, you can do this as well. But I would encourage you to write this down on pen and paper for you who are listening in from Facebook or listening in from YouTube as well. This is a great bit of instruction going forward that'll really help you see it. You see, because Hakoy talked about belief, which is very important. That means you have to feel it. You have to touch it, Machan. And you have to feel it, right, Machan? Yeah, and you have to So you have to feel it and you have to touch it. And it has to be just like tangible to you. This is you bringing it in the physical. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have it. It's out there somewhere for you. It's ready made for you, but you got to bring it into the physical. And that's very important. So we want to discuss the possessing it and the dwelling in it. These are two very important things that we have to understand. We have to understand. So what I did was how many of you have heard of the Bermuda Triangle? Anybody heard of the Bermuda Triangle? Seen a movie on it? You know, there's all kind of conspiracy theory about the Bermuda Triangle. Anybody heard of that before? Please let me know, because I want to make sure this is like, Bermuda Triangle, there have been great movies made about it. There's a lot of conspiracy going on about, well, Bermuda Triangle, this going on, and blah, blah, blah. If you haven't, I would encourage you to Google it right now, Bermuda Triangle. Google that. And so you can see exactly where they have this triangle made up. And apparently a lot of drama goes on in this particular triangle area, to where there's a lot of, planes going down and things like that. Ships come up missing and stuff. And this is, these are things that happen there. But instead of the Bermuda Triangle, I have a new triangle that I configured, and it's called the Golden Triangle. So this is why I said we was going to do some geometry today, because we're going to talk about the Golden Triangle. Now, how many points does a triangle have? Go on geometry here for a minute. So, let's how many points does a triangle have? Anybody tell me that? How many points? Oliver says 3. Okay, right. Has 3 points, right? So there's 3 big points on our Golden Triangle. I don't know about the Bermuda Triangle. I could probably name the 3 points on the Bermuda Triangle. One is fear. The other is destruction, and the other one will be disappearance. Because these are the things that occur there. People are afraid to fly in this particular area because they're in fear of destructive behavior happening or disappearance. Because these things factually have occurred in this particular location. They're talking about fearful of these big waves. They actually call them, get this, they actually call them rogue waves. One of these scientists came up with a name, these rogue waves that can go up as high as 100 feet and do some damage if you're in somebody's ship, anything like that. And if you're taking any cruise ships and stuff like that. So that would be the points on the Bermuda Triangle. Well, I want to focus on the points of the Golden Triangle. And 2 of the points of the Golden Triangle come right out of Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 1, where we're told to possess it. That's the land. Possess your land. And also to do what? To dwell in your land. So you have to, on 2 points, I want you to write on this triangle, on 1 point. Matter of fact, make these 2 points the 2 bottom points. Make one dwell and the other possess. Now, at that top point, the top point of my Golden Triangle is not attitude. Bakoin talked a lot about attitude in this lecture. But my point is talking about gratitude. The importance of gratitude. Gratitude. Not attitude, but gratitude. Bakoin talked about the ghetto mentality and also the rich man mentality. Now, all of you know if you in the ghetto, have you ever heard anybody talk about, well, I thank God that I live in the ghetto. I thank God that I'm living in this housing project. And listen, I'm not putting you down if you live in these particular circumstances, because you can't move on from them. You can't move yourself out. Do you know that one of the owners that started the Home Depot, he actually, that's where he started. They lived in the ghetto. They lived in the ghetto. His daddy was poor, and they lived in the ghetto. And he said, look, I lived in the ghetto, and we lived off government assistance. Honey. And we lived off government assistance in the ghetto. And that's how he started out. Then he comes out to be what? One of the, most successful men in the world. Who in here had shopped at Home Depot being in North America? My goodness, everybody probably shopped at or at least heard of Home Depot. So this is what we have to look at, is that, yeah, you can be in the ghetto, but that don't mean you have to be ghetto. But in the ghetto, have you ever heard people talk about, or, in the hood mentality, they sit there, you hear them talking about, not gossiping. I'm talking about, well, hey, I give thanks to God that I have a roof over my head. Or I give thanks to God that, I have sustenance, food. Oh, they down in the government. This is the same government that's giving them, food stipends, every month. They're getting food stipend, free money for food, free money, free housing, place to stay, a roof over their head. But do you hear them sit there talking about that, or do they spend most of their time, gossiping? Not giving gratitude. That's the top of my pyramid of the golden triangle. That top point is going to be giving gratitude. Gratitude. An attitude of gratitude. You like that, Nehemiah? An attitude of giving gratitude, giving thanks. Giving thanks. Thank you for that, that new car. Thank you for that house. Thank you, for that beautiful wife, that awesome husband. Thank you for those obedient and wise and smart and humble and meek children. Hashem. Thank you. It's an attitude of gratitude. And when you have that attitude, this is why that's at the top of my triangle. It's because when you're focusing on gratitude, you don't have time to gossip. You know what I mean? There's no time for gossip. There's no time for feeling sorry for yourself and having these pity pat parties. Oh, woe is me. I'm never gonna be nothing. The man took this from me, and the man taking that from me. No, you don't have time for that. You don't have time. Your mind is not occupied with a lack mentality when you have an attitude of gratitude. You see what I mean? And then you begin to encapsulate yourself around those particular type people who are always happy, business-minded, business thinking, success thinking, health-minded, whatever you're looking for. Or just in an atmosphere of people that are just happy and just laser focused on a particular agenda. That's either, Hakoin's right. You sit up in Starbucks, man, people are in there. You guys, like you said, majority of those folks in there are probably students. But I tell you, the Starbucks by my house, a lot of business is being conducted in a Starbucks. I'm telling you. You sit there and you listen to people on the phone. They got their laptops in there, and they actually doing business. I was in there the other day. There's one guy. He was on the Forex, and he was currency trading. Now I don't know if a lot of you know, because if you're not in the currency trading, you really need to consider it, because that's one of the biggest. I'm telling you, the currency market, the world currency market is. I think they said 50 times bigger than the stock market. Currency trade is bigger than the stock market, and then the bond trading is even bigger than the stock market. So the stock market comes in like third place when it comes to positions of the biggest position. But most people, they just look at the stock market and see that's the all in all. No, the currency market is like 50 times, 60 times bigger than the stock market. Currency market, the world global currency, man, my goodness, it's a big market. He was in there trading the market, sipping on his latte, whatever he was drinking, eating his little, crumpets and little biscuits or whatever he was in there eating on. So it's you got to put yourself in that particular, like Kohe said, and he's absolutely right. And I totally agree with him. You got to put yourself in that atmosphere, that attitude of gratitude, of giving thanks, no matter what your situation may be. Think about this golden pyramid. So you got, at the top, you got gratitude. And then on the side, you know what we talked about? You got your dwelling and your possessing. Now, the children of Israel were told to go in the land and possess it. What does possess mean to you? It means you got to go in that land. I'm looking at possess. What's another word? Let's look at a synonym for possession. If you possess something, it's on you. Like let's go legal. A cop pull you over and they say, "Oh, you're in possession of some marijuana." What does that mean? If you're in possession of something, that means you own it. It's yours. It's on your body. It was in your car. It was on your person. Oh, we're going to get you for possession of marijuana or possession of a firearm without having the proper license and blah, blah, blah. Take you down the rabbit hole. Possession means it's yours. You claim it. Now, and my golden triangle, we're not talking about the Bermuda Triangle, but we're talking about my golden triangle. And my golden triangle, what do you want to take? What do you want to possess? What do you want to claim? What do you want to settle? You see, possession is you got to settle it. You got to take it. You got to settle in, and you got to make it yours. You know what I mean? To own it, James, to take it over. So you got to take over what you want, and at the same time, always giving gratitude and thanks. Oh, thank you for that Maserati. Thank you, powers for that Maserati. Thank you for that yacht. Thank you for that trip to Belgium. Thank you for that trip to France. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy and grateful that I'm flying first class. Baruch Hashem. I'm so happy and grateful. That attitude and the altitude of gratitude. This is the mentality, the mindset, the womantality. Mentality, womantality, I don't care. You always have to keep your mind processed on gratitude, and you'll see things gravitate to you. I'm telling you, like no man's business. I'm like that with money. And money just comes to me from all directions. And I'm like, Baruch Hashem, come on to me. Baruch Hashem. And you'll find favor with money because that relationship, from all directions. You're under work. Don't concentrate on the how. Focus on gratitude, just giving thanks. Don't worry about the how. There's many different routes to success, as Queen talked about, and that's so true. My goodness, cannot our forefathers, the Hebrews, tell us about many different routes? These guys, were just wandering in the wilderness for 40 years, on top of another 40 years before they saw the land. The first 40 years was for the ones to die off, then the next 40 years for that generation to raise up, to be mature enough to go into the land and do what? To dwell in it and to possess it. Too many folks are talking about going back, making aliyah to a physical Israel, which, if that's on your cards, take that off your bucket list. I would not be trying to go back to Israel right now to dwell in it and to possess it. Not right now. I'll go and visit, go pay some homage, go show some gratitude, attitude of gratitude, and then I'm out there. I'm out here, possessing lands and the nations, because we've been dispersed and scattered to the four corners of this earth, so we can claim whatever we want. We can go and we can settle and possess and claim whatever we want with an attitude of gratitude. Begin to create that atmosphere, Mishpahah. So we want to possess it. We want to settle it. We want to claim it. What do you want to settle? What do you want to claim for yourself right now? What do you want to possess? You see? The golden triangle. This is what you got to look at. Well, what do I want to possess? Do you even know? All right, I'm going to ask you right now, family. What do you want to possess? What do you want to settle right now? What are you settling right now? What are you possessing right now? I'm going to put that in the now. What is it? Why do you want to possess a private plane? Why are you possessing a new house, a 5-bedroom new house in this particular neighborhood? Why are you possessing? Why? What do you want to claim? What do you want to possess? Do you even know? It's the golden triangle. You see, you got to know what you want to possess so you can know what to get gratitude for. Don't let your gratitude just go in the air. Focus, laser focus, like our Kohen talked about. Sniper focus your gratitude on the target. And that's what you want to claim. That's what you want to settle. That's why we were told to go in and possess the land. James say, my trucking business. Speak it into the air. Nehemiah says, my new home. The growth of my own business. Baruch Hashem. Be more specific. I want y'all to laser focus and be more specific. Remember sniper? Look, a sniper. How many of you watch sniper movie? Put up a capital S. A sniper, he understands at the most, him waiting all that time, he might only get one shot. One shot at his target. So he want to make sure that one shot is going to be what? It's going to be lethal. So I want you all to focus. You saying your new trucking business, I wanted you to be focused. When you talk about grow your own business, what kind of business is it? Is it a toy business? Is it a car business? You see how we got to laser focus? You see how we got to you got to put it on? Oh, y'all want to just say, my man. What kind of man you want? Rich man, poor man? You want Kawasaki's book, Rich Man, Poor Man? What kind of man you want? You know what I mean? Laser focus that. Sniper that. What do you want to possess? Y'all want me to say, I want to possess a man. My man. All right now. I'm not mad at you. But you got to laser focus that. You want a cripple man? What kind of man you want? Huh? You want a healthy man? A happy man? You gotta put, that's how you gotta put it down. And then begin to give gratitude and thanks for that man. Because you possess it. You claim it. See, that's that settling in. You see, when we get into the land, we gotta possess it. We gotta settle in. We don't get into the land and begin to get lazy. Wrong recipe. We get into the land. That's when we really start working. You get into the land now, okay. Now we gotta begin to possess the land. Just don't go in there and you kick up your lawn chairs. Okay, now we can rest now. We've been in that desert for a long time. We're in the land flowing milk and honey. Now it's time to put our feet up. No. Now it's time to really start to put everything into motion that we've learned and that you have learned. All those experiences that make you. All those experiences. You may claim them as lost, but I don't claim them as that. I just claim them as a learning experience. And you chalk all of the wins and the learning, you chalk all that up, and you begin to laser focus that on truly what you desire for yourself. It's time to get selfish for a minute. It's time to connect to yourself and get selfish and say, look, this is what I want. Claiming this. You don't think the Hebrews were selfish when they said, look, this is our land? How you going to go? I mean, it takes some cojones. It takes some big cojones for you to go into some and begin to claim something where somebody's already living in it. Do you see? Do you think that some of the Hebrews were like, wait, what the hell? How are we going to take this land and somebody's already living in it? What does that tell you about ourselves today? For those of you who want to claim some land. Maybe somebody's already in the house that you're in right now, but it's still good. You're still saying it's going to be your house. But, your ego comes in and logic comes in and say, well, you know what? That's not the right thing to do to be, claim. There's some people in that house now, and you're claiming that for yourself. You're saying that this is going to be your house, but there's a family living in that house now. I don't give a flying fudge. Who living there? That house is mine. And that's the kind of attitude you need to have. Attitude of gratitude. And then you come with some thank you, that house is mine. That's my house. I don't care who in it. You're having an internal battle with your brain all the time. And logic. And that ego, they'll come in there and try to ruin and wreck all of your claiming and your possessing. They say, you can't possess that. What the hell you mean you're going to possess that? You don't even have the resources. You don't even have the funds. How are you going to get it? See, they start hitting you with the how. And then you know what? When they hit you with the how, you hit them with the now. Say, it's mine now. Say, wait a minute. I'm just asking you how you. No, I don't. It's mine right now. But there's people that it's mine right now. Our golden triangle. Remember, at the top of our golden triangle, we have what? Gratitude. And you're saying, thank you, thank you, thank you, that house is mine. Yeah, I understand there's somebody living in there, but they're going to be living in there forever because that house is mine. It's mine. That car is mine. I don't care who had the car before. If you want a new one, it doesn't matter. The car is mine. That's my car. But that woman is married. Not gonna go there. But that woman is married. How you claim that woman? But the woman is married. Well, she probably got another woman. One look just like her in the world, and she mine. You don't want to go be in wrecking some relationship, right? We're not relationship wreckers. We don't do that kind of stuff. So you got to claim it. You got to settle it. You got to possess it. And then we're told there in Deuteronomy chapter 26, verse 1, is that we're to dwell in it. So what does it mean to dwell in? Okay, so now we settle it. The Hebrews, they had to go in there, and automatically they had to become what? Farmers. Let's call it what it is. The Hebrews had to become farmers. And we know they were real good at it too, because they cultivated this land. They came in and they dwelt in the land. What does dwell mean? That you're going to cultivate it. Okay, we got to grow it. How many of you ever grew anything before? Anybody got a little bit of a green thumb? You grew anything? Maybe it was a science project at school, or you got a garden, a full-blown garden in your backyard. You got to cultivate it. You got to grow it. That's the other point, the bottom point on our triangle. We got possess on one end, and we got dwell, cultivate. Another word for dwell would be cultivate. You got to cultivate. Okay, well, how do I do that? You got to keep it on your mind. My mind is on my money, and my money is on my mind. Why? Because I love money. If me and money have a friendship that's gonna last forever, and you take good care of money, and you building a great relationship with money. If it's money, or it could be that man. Oh, I love my man. Well, I got to do good for my man. I'm gonna do this for my. And you see yourself doing that for your man. Or if it's that house, oh man, you cultivate. Okay, yeah, I got this land. I'm doing up these drawings, blueprints. Just how I'm gonna change the house up a little bit. I'm gonna fix it. You see, when you begin to keep yourself focused on your golden triangle, you have no time for all that negativity that try to float and come around you and tell you that you can't and tell you that you ain't. When you are, and you are now, and you're doing now. You see? That possess it and dwell it, man, and dwell in it. You see, you got to dwell in that environment. You got to cultivate that environment so that you can produce great fruits. Awesome fruits. The Hebrews became farmers, man. They had to cultivate and take care of the land, nurture the land, work on the land. And so that's why we got to work at it. And then when the seasons come, I'm teaching now John. He's got this big poster I'm looking at now in his room. It has the poster of the seasons, the 4 seasons: spring, summer, autumn, and winter. And we looking at these big posters and how these pictures look, and these great illustrations for young children. We're talking about seasons and the different seasons. Nehemiah saying, always in the now. That's right. Be fruitful and multiply. That's right. And that's that dwell in it to cultivate fruits. What kind of fruits you like? To multiply. And they're going to just keep on coming. And then it's just rinse and repeat. You see, when you keep your focus on the golden triangle, you have no time for, the mumbo jumbo out there. You have no time for Bermuda Triangle conspiracy theory, because your focus is on giving thanks for the things that you have and the things that you have. For the things that you have and the things that you have. You get it? For the things that you physically see yourself having and the things that are coming in and you have. Now, you see what I mean? We continue to claim things. You don't only have to claim one thing. You can claim many things. You can possess many things. You can settle many things. Settle them in your self-conscious and make them real inside of you. And then they're going to come to you. They are, they're already out there. Then you're just going to attract them into you. Why? Because you're giving thanks. And you see, all of this, what all this is doing? It's setting up like I talked about, an atmosphere of just bringing it right to you. It's setting up a situation, and that attitude of gratitude is setting up a situation where, whatever you desire can't help but come to you, happily come to you. You got to recognize when it comes to you to take that opportunity and to take that sniper shot, boom, and hit the zone. I won't say the kill zone, but that's what the sniper would say. But I would say the meal zone, to bring it into you. Because all you do is be fruitful and multiply, as Nehemiah says, which is true. That's your mentality. You have no time for gossip and get caught up in all the drama of just nonsense, of negativity and lack. There's no time for lack. Because you keep on keeping it on. You keep on cultivating. Now, just with the golden triangle, you can cultivate positivity. You can cultivate negativity as well. Just like you can claim lack. You see, we have to guard ourselves against this. Because as much as these shepherd nations want to do good for their people, a lot of times their good can revert into, people becoming dependent on them. And I say that in the fact that when I look at North America, I don't know if it's going on in France and in the UK as well, but there's a laziness factor that's happening here in America. How many of you gone to any kind of places here in America and seen signs that say help wanted? Anybody in your particular region where you dispersed and scattered, you see a sign that says help wanted? As a matter of fact, you're not seeing just one. You see them like all over the place, like help wanted, help needed, help wanted. Apply within, need help. Chadasha Grace says lots. Now, why is that? It's because we come out of this corona pandemic, epidemic, blah, 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 and whatever they want to call it. And the government, with good intent, just start giving out money here in North America, giving out money. To where they were giving out more unemployment than a person was making in wages on the regular job. And then people started to say, hell, why go back to work? Well, Uncle Sam is just giving out this money for free. And I could just stay in my house. And not sit on that old dilapidated couch because they didn't bought them a new one with the stimulus package and blah, blah, blah money that's all going out. You see, what the government did with good intent, if not handled correctly, can be detrimental to the growth of a nation. Why? It's because the attitude or the atmosphere, like I talked about attitude, the atmosphere, the attitude can be like, I'm dependent on Uncle Sam for everything. You can become dependent instead of independent. Like Nehemiah said, I want my own business. That's independence. But when you become dependent, you're talking about, I'm dependent on when that next check will come next month. And you see, that's what happened. That's what happens when you're in these kind of environments. You see, Chadasha says many people also want to work from home as well, which I see as a great thing. I don't see nothing wrong with working from home. If you could pull the same, and corporations are starting to realize this. I don't know if you noticed this, but major corporations are starting to realize, this is one of the greatest blessings of this corona. We got our people to stay at home, and they were more efficient than they were at this building that we're leasing. So, hey, let's cut expenses with these. Let's cut some of this overhead with all these buildings that we're leasing, and put that money back into our employees. You know what I mean? Put that money back into our employees, give them this money, and let them keep fueling from home and producing and multiplying our business from home because they're more efficient that way. And our businesses are growing. There's a lot of blessings in the corona that people don't even see. Why? It's because they're too focused on the Bermuda Triangle. Death, destruction, and disappearance. And not on the Golden Triangle. Hey, I'm going to give thanks. Oliver says, I've been working from home since the beginning of the COVID crisis. Baruch Hashem, Oliver. And I guarantee you, you're probably more productive to your business at home than you were, going to somebody's physical building. Baruch Hashem. And I give thanks. I'm giving gratitude, Oliver, for your service. And I say thank you for your service, Oliver, to society, to humanity, and to France. Vive la France. You see, a lot of people want to go to your country, Oliver. So I don't know why people talking bad about your country. When you hear people right here in our family, they say, man, I want to take a trip to France. I want to go to Paris. Baruch Hashem. Vive la France. Paris. See, they want to go to France. And what is that telling you, man? Baruch Hashem. France can't be all that bad when you got people that want to go there or have been there, Baruch Hashem, and want to go back again and again and again. Oui. Right? Oui. So, I mean, think about it. And France, as a Frenchman that he is, he's telling you, France is a great country. And I'm totally on board with that. France is a great country. Hey, and believe it or not, I'm going to bust some of y'all bubbles. China is a great country. I love China. China's a great country, man. The people are great. Big country, great country. A lot of diversity. Great country. I love China. Shoot. Hako, he's in Pakistan. He'll tell you. Pakistan is a great country. It really is a great country. People are great. You got to understand, with every great country, and even some of the worst countries, people like to focus on all the negativity that the country's putting out instead of a lot of the positivity. They don't want to talk about that. See, this is why at the top of my, golden triangle is gratitude. Man, I'm thankful for the people of China. And you know what? The world realized how grateful and thankful they were for China when everything shut down. They're like, wait, why am I not getting this made? Well, hey, I'm going to tell you this true story. True story, Miss Bahar. There's this guy here in our city. He's got this particular kind of truck where he modified it a little bit, and he needed some parts. And you truckers may know about this as well, if you know anything about trucks, is that a lot of these parts have been delayed or just not coming in because of manufacturing issues that relate from China. Because China's making a lot of these parts, or they assisted in some kind of way and making automotive parts. So parts are being held up. If Rabbi Zakari in the room, he'll probably say, yeah, you're right, Rabbi Kefa. So a lot of these parts are being delayed, and a lot of people can't get into their cars because they can't get their cars fixed because of the parts being delayed for some reason due to Corona or shipping issues and blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. That's happening right here in Texas. A friend of mine can't get his truck, this part for his truck, so he can't get his truck running because and then I have this other trucker friend. Look what he did. I'm not going to tell you his name, but because he couldn't get the parts for his particular truck, I don't know what they call it. Guy, 110, you can help me. But he said he changed the system from diesel to something to run on gas, and it's kind of like illegal to do. But he had to do that because he was losing like $6,000-7,000 a day because he's waiting on his parts. Now he called it something where you convert your engine. With trucks, you can anybody know what I'm talking about? You truckers. You can convert your engine. It's not legal to do, but you can. Say like you run a diesel. You know what I'm talking about? Yaya, one of those things say you can convert. And he did that. He went to this one guy. This one guy knew how to do it, and he did it. And his truck is running, but, it's running not like the legal way. But he had to do what he had to do to put the bills. Y'all want me to say, of course not. Yeah, right. Ha, 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 ha. Wink, wink, wink. Right, y'all want me to say? So my friend had to do this to get his truck back on the road so he can, he's losing six. He said, man, look, I'm losing $6,000 a day. I was like, okay, let's not talk about the law. Let's talk about, how can you fix this? What are your options out there to fix this in the meantime while you wait on whatever? But anyway, he did some kind of conversion. I don't know what you speak of. He did some kind of conversion to his engine to get his engine back up and running so he could get back out there and make some money. He did it. And, he running legal, right? He running illegal according to, trucking standards. But again, he's making money for his family. And I cannot knock that brother for wanting to go out there and make money for his family. Because he understands he has a business to run, and he's an LLC, so he's on it. Like Nehemiah talked about. This is his own business. So he wants to keep it up, and he wants to keep the money flowing. So that's what he did. So you have to look at all these factors. Now, it may not be a truck for some of you, but maybe some other things. Maybe you order some stuff on Amazon, it's not coming in on time, it's been delayed, blah, blah, blah. China plays a key role, and that's what I noticed with this corona. Make sure the rubber hit the road, and that's what he said. He said that exact same thing. He said, man, I got to have my rubber hitting the road. I was like, what does that mean? Like, talk to me in English, bro. But he was like, no, I got to get my wheels spinning. He said, I got to get my wheels spinning because I'm losing $6,000 a day? I was like, my goodness, man. My goodness. I see why somebody wants to keep a trucking business. If you keep it rolling, it'll keep your pockets full. It'll keep food on the table. So, again, it's very, very important that we do understand is that, we learn a lot. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of things that we learn, and quote unquote, positions of crisis, as they call them. There's a lot of things that you can gain. And one of the things that I did gain was the reliance. And I think our government, the government of America, realized this, our reliance on China. I mean, I didn't realize we relied on China that much until everything shut down. And we realized that we didn't have our in-house manufacturing and production up to par. We became too dependent. Even the government, America herself realized that she had become too dependent on other nations. Do you see it? So it's just not a singular thing. This thing it's global. You're talking countries, and they realize, okay, now we have to start. And this is one of the great things I like about President Trump is he had that mindset. Okay, we have to start doing things for ourselves. We have to start manufacturing, making these pills. You see, we've seen it a lot on the medical side. There was a big shortage of a lot of pills. Anybody felt the effects of that? With their medications, there was a big shortage of pills when this corona thing really kicked off, and we realized, whoa, my goodness. So with my golden triangle, at the top of my pyramid is gratitude, and I give gratitude and thanks for the Chinese. And for the Chinese, because, they play a key role, whether you like it or not, in the whole scheme of the global thing. Because remember, at the end of the day, when you look at Earth as a planet, we all neighbors. I'm going to say that again. At the end of the day, when you look at Earth as a planet, we all neighbors. Now, how neighbors going to get along with one another? You see? We're told and taught in our holy books how we should treat our neighbor, right? Aren't we told that? That's why I went that neighbor route on y'all. Because that's how we're told. In our relationships, we're told what? That we are to get along with our neighbor and treat our neighbors as we would want ourselves to be treated. I'm paraphrasing, but that's what we're supposed to do. So don't just look at your neighbors, the people to the left and right of your house, and in the front and the back of your bank. But this is a global thing. And we need to be kind to our neighbors. Even though our neighbors may not be too shabby with us sometimes. So what? We still need to be kind to our neighbors. And not, and I'm gonna piggyback on what I talked about. Meek Musa. If anybody know about Moses, he was not this little piddly Steve Urkel that you could just push over. How many of you understand that? So that meekness, don't take that meekness for weakness. Because let me tell you about a lion. A lion will rest for the majority of the day until it's time to get up and eat. But don't take that rest period while he over there chilling. How many of you ever went to the zoo and you wanted to go see the lion exhibit, and you went over to the lion exhibit and the lion was just over there sleeping? It's like, man, what time do I need to come to see the lion when he's up and active and, jumping on people and playing with his children and, loving on his wife? What time do I need to come to see all that going on? So don't take that for weakness. I guarantee you, if you jump into that cage with that lion, he's going to get up and he's going to show you that, old meek lion over there, old resting lion over there is going to come up there and carve you up into, a little appetizer. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Don't get it twisted. Don't take over them, sleep. And same way with Israel. Oh, don't take, y'all told in y'all holy books that y'all to turn the other cheek. Come in my house and try to disturb my family and see if Rabbi Kefa turns the other cheek. What you're going to see is some lead in your cheek. That's what you're going to see. So don't take that meekness for weakness, because that would totally be a misjudgment on your part. Understand that going forward. Israel, you're not a pushover, and you're not allowed to let people push you over and affect you and your family. Understand what I just said? Because that's real. You're not, don't let people push you over. Because let me tell you, if you wrote down the golden triangle, let me tell you this. On the inside of that triangle, you know what I have? Right at the dead heart of the inside of that triangle, I have the people of God. The people of God, the people of Israel are God's people. That's what I have at the heart of my triangle. I want you always to remember that. Is that you're never alone. You never fight your battles alone. The God of Israel is always with you. And believe me, there's a lot of firepower behind what I just said. From angels to entities that are there to assist and guide us and to help us in our way as we're on our way and about our way and doing our way. I want you all to understand that. There's some things, Queen touched on them a little bit, but you got powers. Not power, you got powers that are backing you and that are with you and that are protecting you. And that stuff is real. I don't care, you want to call it whatever you want to call it, it's real. It's real, Israel. It is totally real. It is totally real. And you must see it that way. Don't see yourself as this weak old piddly person. You're strong. You're strong. You soar. You fly higher than all the birds because you're what? You fly high. You're an eagle. Baruch Hashem. You don't fly low. You fly high. The highest. Because you serve the Most High. See that and believe that. Feel it. And you'll never think that you'll push over again. You'll never have that thought come to your mind that you will push over or somebody's taking advantage of you. Nobody can take advantage of you. Or somebody's harming you. Nobody can harm you. And you're to fear nothing. You don't have any fears. You see, that's the fault in the Bermuda Triangle. People scared to go up in there. Don't fly over the Bermuda. Oh, no. Disappearance and destruction and death. No. We won't go over the Bermuda. They're scared. Don't fear. But at the same time, understand that fear is the beginning of wisdom. Baruch Hashem. At the same time, do that. But I'm telling you, you don't fear. You don't fear. But again, think about what I just said. Fear is the beginning of wisdom. When you begin to understand fear, you'll really become wise. Baruch Hashem. Thank you for that in Okhma. The wise will understand. It's very important for us to comprehend and to put into practice in our way of life. There's nothing you can't accomplish. But what keeps a lot of the family back is that they do fear. Or you get the same verses that we see here, these chapters in Deuteronomy 27 and 28, that's spewed out on YouTube, and they keep people in fear. Oh, hey, you cursed. I'm like, man, curse. Oh, man, we curse people. Feel sorry for us because we curse. No, we not. Israel's not cursed. They like to hinge their hat on the Deuteronomy 27 and 28 without understanding what it really means. There's nothing on this planet that can stop you. Why? You're unstoppable because you have been given dominion over this planet. They forget to tell you that part. How are you going to dominate? Right, Yael 1:10? How are you going to dominate yet you fearful of something on this earth? You should not fear anything on this earth. You give gratitude to the powers of Israel for giving you, for delegating that authority onto you. You give thanks for that. You give gratitude. Then you go and you possess And then you go and you cultivate and dwell. Pukashim. You go possess, you settle, you claim whatever you desire for yourself. And then you cultivate and you dwell in that state of being. Don't focus on the human side of it. The human side will tell you it's impossible. But there is nothing that is impossible. The human side will tell you that it's impossible for that to happen. There is no way. Human side will tell you, oh, you was raised in the project and you always gonna be a project. You started out as a project chick and you always gonna be a project chick. Well, no, you're not. Because you're a queen. You're no project chick. You're a queen. You're beautiful. You're respected by all men. Hashem. You're honored by all. And you give thanks to the powers of Israel for protecting you and keeping you. The queen that you are, because you're a queen, Mishpah. You women in the room. And you men, you're kings, man. That's the way you need to see yourself. That's the way when you start focusing on these things, I mean, these are feel-good moments because when you feel, you believe. And when you see, you believe it as well. But sometimes your sight will fail you. Those two eyes will fail you, and then you got to begin to see with that third eye. You begin to see with that third eye, game over. You realize that you are the people of the God of Israel. You've been chosen. You are the people of the God of Israel, Mishpah. You have been chosen. Baruch Hashem. You have been chosen. Deuteronomy 26:19 says, Deuteronomy 26:18 says, and Yahweh has declared to you this day to be his treasured possession, as he has promised you, and that you should guard all his commandments. The God, that's why I put at the center of my pyramid the God of Israel, treasured possession. He's declared us. He's possessed us. And my gratitude chart, he has possessed us. So that he can do what? He can cultivate and dwell with us, Baruch Hashem. In us, Baruch Hashem. Possession. Treasure possession. Not just some kind of old possession. You treasure. You see, same way with us. Whatever we want to possess, we should treasure it. Treasure it. We don't run it down. You want to possess money, then quit talking bad about money. You see what I mean? Yael Woman of 10 said, if you're in the projects and just think it's the beginning of an undertaking. Oh, indeed. You see, you will go from projects to paradise things. And I text that in earlier. You're not in the projects, you're in paradise. Baruch Hashem, how you see your paradise. You see, it's all in how you see your paradise. Some people see their paradise as the projects. This is what's going to be. This is why, what do you claim? That's one of the first questions you need to ask yourself. What are you claiming on the golden pyramid? What are you claiming? What are you settling? What are you claiming? What are you possessing? And then when you possess that, you cultivate it. And just like I stated, the golden triangle goes both ways. It can go positive or negative for you. Because whatever you claim, whatever you possessing, whatever you claiming, that's what you're going to cultivate. You're going to spend most of your time cultivating that what you're claiming. This is why it's very important that you're laser focused and sniper focused on what you're claiming, what you're possessing. Well, what am I possessing? The children of Israel, I mean, my goodness, was this not affirmed in them? They were told over and over by Moshe and Aaron, look, we're going into a land flowing with milk and honey. We're going into a land flowing with milk and honey. We're going into a land flowing with milk and honey. Well, what did the Hebrews begin to claim and possess and settle? Oh, man, this is a land with milk and honey. This is a land with milk and honey. Moses did it. Man, look, we're going into this land and it's desolate and y'all going to work your asses off, man. It's desolate and it's hot as hell there. And, man, look, there's barely any water and blah, blah, blah. No, he didn't say that. His laser focus was on that land being what? Land flowing with milk and honey. And that's what they believed. And they were brought up believing that. This is a land flowing with milk and honey. This is a land flowing with milk and honey. And then they began to cultivate that. This is a land flowing with milk and honey. And this is a land flowing with milk and honey. I'm dwelling in a land flowing with milk and honey. This is a land flowing with milk and honey. Now that they're in the land, now we're going to make this a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, let the land show us that it's flowing with milk and honey. I'm going to work this land, and sure enough, like Nehemiah said, the land began to show them that we multipliers. We multiply. We multiply. We multiply. We multiply. Look at him. Why? It's because Moses taught the children of Israel, the Hebrews, to begin to claim what? Land flowing with milk and honey. Land flowing with milk and honey. Land flowing with milk and honey. And they give thanks to the God of Israel for that land flowing with milk and honey. They give thanks for the God of Israel for their sojourn, their travels, where their shoes never wore out. My goodness, can you imagine doing all that walking and your shoes don't wear out? Give thanks and gratitude for that. Instead of complaining, well, we got to walk and we got to keep walking, and we've been walking for years. And we're still traveling for years. We've been talking about this land flowing with milk and honey, and I haven't seen nothing yet. We're still not in it. Wrong attitude. That's not an attitude of gratitude. That's an attitude of disaster, failure, lack, complaining. Wrong attitude. Check out your golden pyramid. Gratitude is the attitude. Cody talked about this in his lecture. You know, you got to set the right the attitude. And make it a high altitude. Set it high. Don't just settle. Well, I'll settle for just any kind of old hot chocolate. Just anything. Matter of fact, sir, what hot chocolate do you have that's on sale? You know, like, what the hell? No, sir. I'm a queen. I'm a prince. I want the best hot chocolate you got, because I deserve the best. Because I am the best, right along with you, and this is the best store in town. And I just love patronizing your store because this is the best store in town, man. I love circulating my monies in your store because your hot chocolate is the best. How many of you heard that saying, you get what you pay for? That's so true. You get what you pay for, man. And you are what you eat. If you're tasting richness and you're eating richness, and guess what? You're going to be rich. Because it's the attitude. And you set that attitude up in the altitude on high. You don't set it down low. Oh, well. Let me just get some food where I can just survive on. Oh, you're a princess and you're princesses. Oh, you deserve better than that. You're royalty. You come from an awesome family. You come from a undescribable lineage. My goodness. Don't ever forget who you are. And don't forever, ever get the God that you serve. That's why that's at the heart of my triangle. We serve the powers of Israel. So that's my take on the day. This is called the golden triangle. Take and apply that triangle. Top of the triangle, tip of that point is gratitude. To the left and right, the bottom points are to claim, to possess, to settle, and the other side is to dwell and cultivate. You see? It's important. I don't care if I'm the only eating a burger, then it's just a steak burger. I don't care if I'm only eating a burger, then it's just a steak burger. Book of Shem. It's all in your mindset, in the action that you take. Keep yourself in the high places. No matter what's going on around you, don't let it affect you. But you encapsulate and then circulate people around you. It's going to be beneficial to you, and that's nurture. And it's going to help you cultivate whatever you claim. Whatever you want to put those kind of surround. And believe me, when you begin to show gratitude for what you're claiming, you're going to begin to cultivate those particular people going to come your way. Particular events are going to happen. They're going to come your way to help you cultivate and grow whatever you claim. And for that, give thanks. It's going to happen. That's just the nature and the laws of the universe. That's just what it is. And you begin to understand the universal principles and the universal laws, like what Akoidi's doing, and really aiding and assisting us and guiding us and how to put all this formula and how to put all of this technology into play. How to put it into play into everyday living, because that's what's important. We live a way of life. That's what it is. It's our way of life, our way of living. How are you going to live? That is your choice.
Okay, yeah, Twitter for that, Rabbi Kefa. I missed the last part. Okay, no worries. So the lecture is finished. I'm going to close the room, and we'll catch it up next week on the Shabbat. Have a great Shabbat. I just wanted to give you one particular example of a laser focus attention and laser focus manifestation. So you understand what I'm telling you. It can happen, and it should happen. There's nothing that can stop it from happening. 2 days ago, I had some problem with electricity over here, where we were basically out about 3 days ago. We were out in our home on electric for about 6 hours. Some kind of load shedding. They had some kind of problem in the city. Maybe some part of the grid wasn't working. We were basically out for 6 hours. And we do have a generator at home that wasn't working for some odd reason. Maybe the wiring wasn't done right, or maybe there wasn't enough oil in it, fuel. It wasn't running. So 2 days ago, I decided that I'm going to get a UPS system, because we already have a generator system in the house as part of the system that kicks over when the electricity goes out. So I decided that no, I don't care about the generator system because it's noisy. You have to go find gas, and if it doesn't start, you're shafted, can't do nothing, still have to wait in the dark. So I decided that I'm going to put a UPS system, a small 1,000 watt UPS system that will simply come into my room. It will supply my laptop, charge my laptop, my fan. It will kick my fan on. It will start my lights. And it's just going to be a separate system. It's not going to touch any of the wiring of the house. That's what I decided 3 days ago. And then I said to my wife, this is going to happen. And my wife was like, well, he better not, the man who comes, he better not touch the electric wires that are already in the house, because they are, proper wires, and they are the right thickness. And if they put cheaper wire in, they may destroy or at least declassify the wires to a lower standard. And I told my wife, I said, I don't effing care. I said, I am going to get this system in one way or the other. And this system that's already here, it's already failed. The generator's not working, and I don't care how expensive the wires are, but this system that I'm going to bring in is going to give at least one room light, and if you want to charge your battery, you want to charge your phone, you want to charge your laptop, have all of that. And at least we must have at least one room for that. It doesn't have to be in the whole house. Although the system is capable of running 3 or 4 rooms, it can generate 3 fans, it can generate 5-6 bulbs, and it can do a few other things. But I didn't want any of that, so I said, no, I'm not interested in any of that baloney. I'm just simply interested in one room, and that is where my focus is, and that's what I'm going to get done. So she's like, okay, if you can find the right guy. I said, not just find the right guy, consider found. Consider is already here, because I am going to do it. It's done. And so I went out that evening. I went to her old house where we had to get some repairs done in a UPS system. And I was putting some new cameras over there, security cameras. And I was talking to the security camera guy, and I said to him, I want to get a UPS system into my house. And I have this particular issue where, I have a generator, but it's not working, and there's, load shedding, and sometimes the electric is out for 6 hours, and this is too long. It's already happened 2-3 times, and who knows how many times it's going to happen. We can't keep waiting 6 hours for electric to come back. And so he said to me, I know somebody who can do this. I said, really? He said, yeah, a friend of mine. I said, give me his number. So he gives me his number. I call this guy. He's obviously was busy at the time. He was praying. And after I stopped, I said, he's probably praying because it's prayer time. And he said, yeah, he's probably praying, and he'll probably call you back. And he called me back, and I spoke to him, and I said, hey, I've got this particular project. It's a small project, but I want this done pronto. Like, we need to talk about this tomorrow. And he's like, okay. I said, can you come down tonight? He said, yeah, I can come down tonight. I said, come down, come over. What time are you coming? He said, I'm coming at 7. I said, come over 7 o'clock. We'll discuss it. So he comes over at 7 o'clock. We discuss the project. I say, okay, such and such day, you and me, we're going to go see the house. I'm going to show you exactly what I want. I want this system to be totally independent. It's not going to touch any other electric wire. And this is how you're going to set it up. He said, okay, I should be able to do it. So he comes over. The day he told me, he phones exactly on the time and says, are you home? I said, yeah, I'm home. Come over. So he comes over. I show him the system. He says, yep, there should be no problem. Let's go and get the kit. So we go to town. I spend about 2 hours buying the little UPS system, a little battery, other cables, bits and bobs that he needs. So we bring all of that over and we put it in the house. And it's already now in the house. And tomorrow he's coming over to fix it. That is what I call laser focus. Laser focus is not, oh, I want to get something done, and 6 months later, you're still thinking you want to get something done. I've seen people in my life who had problems in their houses, problems in their cars, problems with other things in their life, and they just sit on it, and they do nothing about it. And they think, oh, God's magically going to come down, with wings, and he's going to fix everything. But that's not how God fixes things. God fixes things when you call upon God, and the only God that you're going to call upon is the God within you. That's the God you're going to call upon. Because when you call upon that God within you, then things are going to move. Because you now have a laser focus. You have determined this is what you want done. And you don't care what other family member says. Your wife, your cousin, your this, your that, and the third. You don't care about any of those people. I have 15 people around me trying to guide me as how I should do it. When I tell them, I don't need any of your guidance. I said, just shut it. I'm an engineer myself. I'm a software engineer. I can do this job. I know how it's done. I know where things go. You just need to let me handle it for a change and see how I get it done. I'm not going to wait 6 hours for you or 3 days for you to come and tell me, oh, such and such person, we can help you to get over and look at it. I said, no. I said, no, I don't do it like that. When I get on a project, it has to be done, and it has to be done immediately. Immediate implementation. There's no second guessing. And so when you put yourself in that is a state, by the way. I've taught you about states, and you probably haven't paid attention much to what state is. That is a state of implementation. When you go into a state of implementation, nothing can stop you from implementing that state. Because you are determined, you decided, you have a mission, and you must do it. There is no, it's raining today, and what's going to happen tomorrow? It's too hot, or that man is busy, etc. None of those things happen. When you put yourself in a state, then God opens the doors, the right doors for you to make the right connections with the right people, and the right people turn up, and the job is done. And I can guarantee you this, that tomorrow, by this time, the job that I've taken upon myself will be done. This is what I mean when I taught you earlier that you must have laser focus like a sniper. You must be watching all the time. Your goal, your desire. You have a desire, you have a goal. And it's not something that you're going to just sit there and say, oh God, please help me. Oh God, please help me. Send somebody, send somebody. You're not going to do that foolish kind of prayer, ignorant prayer. You're going to decide, and you're going to sit there and you're going to say, this job is done. This job is accomplished. I am already at the end. And what do you see? What you see is the end product, what we call living in the end. You're now living in the end. And what you see in living in the end is whatever it is that you're doing, is you're doing that. Whether it's driving a car, whether it's living in an apartment, whether it's having $300 million in the bank. All of that is the end. You don't care how that $300 million came into your bank. You don't care how that apartment came. And you definitely don't care how that car came to you. But you must set your focus straight. A lot of you have no focus. What is your focus? 1 minute you're watching, one thing, deciding one thing, and second minute you're deciding something else, and third minute you're somewhere else altogether. You do not keep focus. A sniper. Think about a sniper. A sniper's focus is simply at one spot to kill an enemy to protect his allies. And that's how you need to think. You need to act like a sniper. And when you bring your reality, your desire, that you want to manifest into 3D as a sniper, then things will start to quickly change. Doors will start to open. People will start to do things, and you'll be like, wow, this is like magic. And it will be like magic. But it's because you set it to be like that. Because you became in that state. And you said, this is my state, and this is what I want done. And it must be done by X number of days. I am not prepared to wait 3 months for this to happen. See, this is how we get done time-limited things. Time-limited things because there's no time in eternity. Is there time in eternity? If you were God, if you were in the place of God in eternity, would you be worried about time? You'd just say be, and it will be. So this is the state you need to bring yourself into. You need to bring yourself into an eternal state. And in an eternal state, when you decide, look, I'm fed up of living in this house, and I need to move. I need to go somewhere else. Or I'm fed up of driving this old banger. Fed up of driving this hoopty. I now need to change to a better car, to a newer car. And what do? You put your laser focus on your new car that you have seen. Maybe you've seen it on a YouTube video. Maybe it's an image on Google. Wherever you set up your image and you start looking at that image. And whenever you sit in your hoopty becomes that new car. You're not driving your hoopty, you're driving that new car. And you continue to drive it. And you continue to tell yourself, I'm driving my new car, whatever that new car is. I love my new car. It's a beautiful drive. When you have that kind of belief and mindset, That is what Jesus of Nazareth said. See, he didn't just say believe. He said when you believe, when you want to receive something and you believe it, then you will have it. Belief means your imagination should be seeing that thing all the time, whole day long. We're not talking about, while I'm just drinking my coffee and having my breakfast for 5 minutes and I'm thinking, yeah, that looks nice. That UPS system is really great. I think I'll have that. Not for 5 minutes. You should be focused on it constantly. Your whole persona should be on it. If you want that car, it's not just for 5 minutes while you're drinking your morning coffee. It should be in your breakfast. It should be in your dinner. It should be before you sleep at night. You are watching that car like a laser focus sniper. And the day you get what I taught you today, the day you get what I taught, that day you won't be worried about how many times you write your script. That day you'll only be talking about how many manifestations you made and how many manifestations you achieved, because they will be coming so fast that you won't even understand how fast they're coming, because you already have switched your mind. Your mind, your brain is the power to the connection to God. So as I keep telling you, use that to connect to God, and God is the one that will open the doors. You don't go opening the doors. You don't know the people around you, but God does. So God will bring the right people, the right equipment, the right things to do, and it will happen. I am telling you for a certainty it will happen. But you have got to put your trust completely on that sniper focus. If you've never seen a sniper movie, there are quite a few sniper movies. That American sniper movie, I forget the name, the man who died. I mean, it's a great movie. He was in Iraq, he was killing soldiers over there, left, right, and center, enemy soldiers. And of course, American soldiers were being killed as well by the enemy, because they also had a sniper. Those kind of movies are what's going to reveal to you the kind of mindset you need. Because in a sniper mindset, let me tell you, in a sniper mindset, there's no failure. There is no failure. It's only success. So that's how snipers think. No failure. And you also need to think, no failure. Children of Israel don't think, how many times am I going to fail? Am I going to fail 1,000 times like Thomas Edison before I produce that bulb? Or am I going to succeed the first time I go at it? If Moses had started with failure, Moses would have never taken the children of Israel to the land border. He would never got there. So Moses' mindset and Aaron's mindset was no failure, only success. No matter how many times Pharaoh said no, Moses and Aaron said yes. Every time he said no, they said yes. And they did take the children of Israel. That's a lesson for everybody to learn. There is no failure. When your target is success, you do not even think about failure. So, think about it. Listen to the lecture again if you have to. These are very powerful states. And these are the kind of states that very, very rich people live in. I mean, we are just, beginning to climb into those states. But the very rich people in this world, they live in these states. And they produce immense amount of wealth. So that doesn't preclude you from that wealth. It doesn't mean that you can't produce that wealth. It means you also can produce that wealth. But are you willing to put yourself in that state? State comes first. Or is the ice cream going to come first? As my dentist says, I hate that ice cream, whoever made it. Because some people say, I'd take my ice cream first. Well, if you're going to take your ice cream first, you forget about your state. Because you're not ready for that state. So with that, have a great, wonderful week. Shabbat shalom, shalom, shalom.